So I just came off the Nintendo showcase, and I felt pretty good about that show. Was it the show that I was personally hoping it would be, that would make me rip my shirt off and destroy my room? Okay, actually, I did destroy my room a little bit, but you know, I wanted that show to really blow me away because I haven't seen that from Nintendo for like 2 years. So we're gonna go over some general thoughts, maybe not highlighting every single little thing, but what's up? It's Samurai Kibiji, talk about game hype here. So subscribe if you've been enjoying the E3 coverage, and boy, we're gonna slow down after today. But Nintendo just had their first E3 showcase since 2019. And one of the reasons I wanted the show to go so great is because I am a newer Nintendo fan. You know, I'm not a veteran one, a long time one, so I'm not gonna be as well versed as other folks. So that's where I'm coming from, but I am enjoying what Nintendo's doing, and I would say the best show I've seen them have ever is probably their 2017 E3 show. I wanted something today of that caliber, and while I personally don't feel like we got that, it was still a good show. And there's nothing wrong with that, but no matter what, there's gonna be comments that are like, it was an amazing show, like, you should have loved it. I liked it. Let's get into the really cool stuff. Like, honestly, the really cool stuff to me is, first thing, I was saying to folks, I really wanted to see an IP that Nintendo owns to get a new entry on the Switch that hasn't had one before, and I got that with WarioWare. WarioWare has a new game coming out, and honestly, it is cool. Like, it looks like it could be a lot of fun to play with somebody in the same room, and they did say, you know, that has 2 players, which is really neat. It isn't a game that I personally feel like I will play, but it is one of the things I want to see Nintendo do, and technically speaking, they did. They just didn't do it with any, what in my opinion would have been a bigger note, like Donkey Kong or Star Fox, but we'll get back to that. The other thing Nintendo did that I did ask for was anything, even a mention of Metroid Prime 4. And they did. They literally did exactly what I said, which is just mention it, remind us it exists, and they did. And they did the, you know, the next best thing, which I was also hoping is give us something Metroid. And they did. It wasn't the Metroid Prime trilogy, but it was Metroid 5, which is really cool to see after so damn long, a new entry in the Metroid series. And it looks really grim, and just kind of that style that Metroid really has for Nintendo that makes it a really unique IP for Nintendo. Not only was Metroid Prime 4 mentioned, but we also got one of the big 3 between Bayo, Metroid, and Breath of the Wild, and we got to close out the show with what everybody was talking about, which is Breath of the Wild 2. I want to talk about other things before I talk about the Breath of the Wild sequel because I have some other thoughts on that, but what I'm getting at is they literally checked off of my list on things I really wanted to see them do. The thing is that all 3 of those things that they check marked, they did it in a way that was literally just checking mark it off, you know, like that's why I'm saying I did like this show, but the way they did those things, they didn't blow me away. They didn't exceed like my expectations. They did just about what I expected, not what I had hoped. I'm still happy that they literally did what I asked. Oh my God, I haven't even talked about the Smash reveal. Look, I don't want to say that I jinxed it or necessarily called it, even though I spammed that in my reaction video, but I did make a video that was about how this Fighters Pass for, you know, Fighters Pass 2 and Smash Bros. Ultimate, it has been so random, unpredictable of characters that really work in the game that are super good picks, but they're characters that not everybody was talking about. You know, like right now, everybody is talking about Crash Bandicoot, Shantae and Gino and all these stereotypical characters, Master Chief and shiz. I was saying, I don't think they want to do that. I don't think, like, somehow Nintendo's formula, they just predict what characters will really catch people off guard. And I think this is one of those characters, being Kazuma from freaking Tekken. And I said in this video that I made about this exact topic, not my predictions, but like my unlikely characters that will probably wind up being in Smash Bros. To continue the trend that is Fighters Pass 2. And Kazuma from freaking Tekken was one of them. And I'm so happy. I gotta be honest, I'm not a fighting game fan, but it's so cool to see a genre represented that isn't a JRPG. Not anything against JRPGs. I am glad they are in. I think Sephiroth, Pyra, and Mithra are great additions, but it's like, okay, let's be fair to other genres in gaming that isn't that one genre. Let's get other styles of characters in here that can represent a different kind of game, and that's what freaking Tekken does. It's pulling in an actual fighting game character from a very big fighting game franchise. That's really freaking cool. The way this pass is going, I seriously feel like my Geno fake out thing is gonna be real. I'm seriously thinking that might be real, but it probably won't, because that's predicted. The main thing I felt like really hampered this show was the amount of ports that was in this. There was so many ports that are really, you know, it's cool that these are coming, and we even got looks at potentially new games, but it's just, I've noticed that Nintendo Directs for the past 2 years have really started to focus on all of these like games that were already released, or things that already came out, or things that were already announced that they're like, hey, this is also going to come to Switch. You know, they announce it after the fact of the reveal. It just kind of feels like reminders instead of big reveals, you know? It's cool that they do it. I'm just saying that to me personally, this is just me personally, it doesn't add hype to the show. Just for me, I go to the Nintendo Switch for their first party stuff, because when I play these ports and whatnot, I feel like I'm not playing the most optimal version of the game, unless it's like a previous, you know, Nintendo title that's like, you know, getting a little bit up-resed and ported to the Switch so you could play it again. That's neat, but that's not like that hype inducing in my opinion. People make fun of Xbox sometimes and be like, have fun playing old ass games, and I'm just like, look at what Nintendo's doing. Not to mention you're gonna have to pay full price for those games if you want to play them. That just reminded me of one of the biggest question marks I have. They announced an awesome Super Mario Party thing where it's like 5 classic stages from the 64 Mario Party games, and you know, it's the full boards from those and 100 classic game types. That sounds awesome. And it's an entire other $60 game. So it's essentially like, instead of buying like a Super Mario Party 2, they made this instead, and I feel like this would have been way more hype to me, and I would have been like all aboard, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy the deluxe full Game of the Year, whatever edition of Super Mario Party that this is an expansion to. This is an expansion to the base game, and then when you add this to the base game, you just have so many boards instead of having to switch back and forth between them. Do you see kind of this trend that I'm going on? Like, there was good announcements here, but there was just something about them that kind of made it go lower for me, like just for me. And those that follow me know that while I am not a Zelda fan, Breath of the Wild is one of my all-time favorite games. And I'm really looking forward to the Breath of the Wild sequel. I am going to buy it. I am going to play it. I just want it to feel really different though. And what they showed, it seems like verticality, this game is gonna be bigger than the last, which is saying a lot because the last game was insane both horizontally and vertically. But adding more on a vertical scale to that world, that's gonna do a lot. The thing in this trailer though that I feel like they didn't do too well is it seemed like unless you were in the sky, you are just back in that world of Hyrule that Nintendo already made, and it didn't feel different enough. Like, you have new versions of the tools, but it's the same engine, same green grass, same enemies, and I just wish that at least there was kind of a tonal shift that they did, where it's like, maybe the sky is constantly gray, and this really is the kind of dark, grim version of the game that a lot of people thought it was gonna be. Maybe they, for some reason, want to hide that. I don't know. And that kind of brings me to the final point, is it just felt like there was a lot they wanted to hide. Like, what is going on with Donkey Kong? What is going on with Star Fox? Okay, they touched upon Metroid Prime 4, but you know. By the way, Mario Golf looks really fun. I think that game looks freaking solid. And that's what I mean, like, there's nothing in the show that looks bad. It's all entertaining. It just, like, literally is that good area. I feel like almost every one of the announcements could have been way more hype or better in some way, or they could have put in some announcements that was a lot, you know. Did anybody else see those bananas for the Monkey Ball port and think that that was the Donkey Kong game? That's another prime example. Okay, I'll shut up. There's no matter what gonna be people that are like, that was the most 10 out of 10 amazing ball showcase. And if it was for you, that's awesome. I'm super happy. I'm just here to share how I felt about it and would love to discuss it in the comments. What was your least favorite thing maybe, and what was your most favorite thing? How do you think the show could have been better? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to be Geek Proud Awesome, and I will chat with you more soon about the game hype. Thanks, guys.